Can you say that again? You were just saying when your parents were
Yeah,
born.
my dad was born 1889, and mother was born in 1889. Dad was born in 1882.
Okay.
He was born in Kentucky, and by the time he was, I think, 8 years old, his family moved to Texas, and they were around Dallas area in the dairy business. Raised cattle and had dairy products, and he never was a dairyman himself. He tried to, when they first married, he tried to farm for a living, but he was always busy with everybody's farm equipment, fixing it for them and sharpening things. And he didn't make much of a farmer himself, so they moved into town and he opened a blacksmith shop. And he was a blacksmith for 30 years.
Wow. Was
My
that a
mother
good living
was,
back then? Sorry. Was that a good living back then, being a blacksmith?
well, it was, except uh, things did get hard, the Depression, and people didn't have money to pay their bills, so they more or less traded things, like the barter system a lot. They used we always had plenty to eat because the farmers would pay their bills through that way, but didn't have any money to speak of. And my mother sewed for the public. She was a real good seamstress, and she had quite a bit of work coming in a lot that way. Had some cash flow.
Did you feel the depression? Did you know it was going on?
We took it for granted as children. We just, whatever was, that was life. And when we didn't have extras that people liked to get, but we had what we needed. We made do. Some of our neighbors would be on like a welfare program that we'd get food that more of one thing than they needed, and they'd trade for something we had that we didn't need. So we'd have plenty of beans, and we got a cow to have in the backyard, so we had milk, and we'd buy dried beans and a lot of beans to eat. And at one time, the government of the city there allotted a part of the square where we had the big courthouse for people to raise vegetables, greens.
Oh, wow.
That helped a lot. Everybody could go get fresh vegetables right out of the courtyard.
And individual people went and planted there and...
Right, anyone that was able to help, they put in the garden, and everybody could use what they needed out of it. So
Wow.
a lot of that could be used in any community to help out. There's always someone that needs food they can't buy. So it does help. I've seen it being used in our neighborhood lately. They've had some community gardens kind of testing it out. It works real well.
Do you know much about your father's parents?
Not a lot. I know my dad had, there was a large family, 14 children.
Wow.
My dad wasn't the oldest, but I think about the third to the oldest. Quite a large family. My dad's father was educated to be a doctor, but he married this young 14-year-old girl, and they had to make their own way. The families disowned them.
Oh. Wow.
That's the way I hear it, but they had a nice big family and happy lives.
Wow.
So,
Did you ever know them?
no, I knew my grandmother, yes, but my grandfather died before I ever knew him. But my grandmother died at our home in Texas when after I married, and my husband was in overseas, and I was staying with my parents in Hollis, Oklahoma, that my dad got a chance to get a better income by moving to Texas, where his brother was a blacksmith and had bad health and had to give it up. And my dad took over his shop in Allison, Texas. They were there, and then when my husband came from overseas, we stayed there another 6 months, and he worked with my dad. They taught each other the different kinds of welding that each one knew a different kind, so they got a lot out of the association between them, and it was a nice time.
And that was in
We
Texas?
needed to get back to California. And then our family started, so we really had some good times here in Modesto. But the time came a time in the Second World War when my husband had to serve just after he'd been released from the first tour of duty. He had to go back in and serve another time till the war ended. Then he couldn't get his job back that he had been working at, so he began looking for work and found one civil service job in the naval base. That's where we spent all of time raising our children and working there on the base. When we finished our years of work and were ready to retire, we wanted to move back to Modesto. So here we are back here and had some very good times traveling through our retirement. And when my husband died, then my son Lonnie moved back here and decided to take up truck driving. He's still living in this family house, and we're close enough to where our daughter Sonia lives that we can get to see our grandchildren and have wonderful get-togethers. Every time we get a chance, there's a wedding or a birthday or Christmas, Thanksgiving to celebrate, all kinds of good times.
How many years have you lived in this house?
We've lived here since 1975, so 25 and 15.
Wow.
That's a long time.
Yeah, stop for just a
40
second.
years.